So should we start now? What we studied in the last session? इसके पहले EQ IQ थोड़ा हुआ था. Nurture, nature can be acquired through practice. It's more part of socialization, improved through practice. So we also discussed how person having high EQ with low EQ cannot make a good administrator. He should be a people's person. Next we discuss what? Ethics in public administration. What is ethics in public administration? That is one aspect. Another is application. That is ethics in governance. Two aspects. What ought to be the conduct of civil servant? What should be the conduct? What should be the ethical standards to determine the conduct? And application is ethics in governance. That is two aspects of ethics in public administration. After that, we also discussed those four ethos: bureaucratic, managerial, social. Yes, and so how some of the ethos comes in conflict with the established values of civil services, ethics of civil services, ethics of barbarian ethics, loyalty, commitment comes in conflict with what? Expertise. Then it also brings instability. Lateral entry, it brings instability, a revolving door. Bureaucracy is career based, so stability. Then we also touched upon conflict of interest. What is conflict of interest? Professional and personal. Yes, personal interest. We discussed loyalty versus merit, I guess, and एक ही हुआ था discuss. So many conflict of interest can be loyalty versus merit, neutrality versus impartiality, or compassion. Then can be bureaucratic attitude versus democratic attitude. Transparency versus confidentiality. Law versus ethics. Radical change versus gradual change. Autonomy versus accountability. Order versus public interest. Lot of conflicts. See, this all conflicts can happen. Also, we will later connect this with ethical dilemma as well. So, both are largely interchangeable, but conflict of interest is different from ethical dilemma. When we deal with all this, later we'll discuss ethical dilemma also. Okay, so same dimension you have to open up in ethical dilemma also, conflict of interest also. Okay, So first is loyalty versus merit. This has been discussed yesterday, I guess. Neutrality versus impartiality or compassion. This is all in context of civil services. Okay, and then you will say, why not ethics versus religion, not ethics versus morality? There can be constitutional morality versus social morality can also come. Bureaucratic attitude versus democratic attitude. Once this has been asked directly in UPSC, difference between this. Transparency versus confidentiality. Law versus ethics conscience largely has been discussed. We'll talk in brief only about this. Radical change versus gradual change, that is reforms. Autonomy versus accountability. And order versus public interest. Order, you understand? Superior order. Order, that is a way to control. Write down this, it will be helpful. This structure in opening up dimensions, very helpful in case studies also. Hopefully we'll discuss all this today only. Some people are missing, I guess. Enjoying rain, tea, coffee. In some cities, it rains every day for 3 months. Then they'll stop coming for 3 months altogether during the monsoon. हो गया सबका दिख रहा है. Radical change versus gradual change. Autonomy versus accountability. Order versus public interest. हो गया? See, good article today in the Hindu, GS2, International Relations, all neighborhood relations he talks about. So Asmi Haider, how our neighborhood relation is not proper and how it should be fixed. It was followed by moral idealism. Moral realism we were following, not engaging the opposition. Now see, every opposition is in power in our neighborhood. So that is also one issue, and she talks about being practical, having moral, that is, talks about moral idealism should also be followed. You should engage with each and every aspect. Our policy, Modi ji outlined neighborhood first policy in 2014. Look at the neighborhood. Khalida Zia was refused some access in India. Now she will become most likely the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. What are you going to do? She will become pro-Pakistan, pro-China. Also, she also further writes how when Afghanistan issue happened, Taliban take over, many people wanted to come to India as refugees and India shut the door. So, it also questions the credibility of India as a natural ally or loyal partner. So, you should not adopt the US policy of foreign policy. US policy is use and throw. India cannot adopt because we have very volatile neighborhood. US neighborhood is very peaceful. Canada-US relationship are very friendly. There exists like what of no free border, I guess people go and come easily. India, this is not. So wrong policy. Also puts a question mark on India's foreign policy neighborhood first approach. Then people say that CA I guess gives citizenship to minorities of neighborhood states. So should they be given citizenship? What do you think? Excluding the majorities, that is Muslims they exclude, minorities should be given citizenship. They should be given. Yes. Then exclude minorities. Exclude the majorities there. Okay. One view is also there. And the Muslims are tortured there. They should also be given. But other view is there. So many wars happened with Pakistan. They were loyal to Pakistan that time. Their loyalty was with Pakistan. Now suddenly they want to come here now. What about those people who risked their life in 1947 and came here? Then, and now they are realizing they should be given citizenship. 1971, Kargil War, etc. happened. They were loyal then. Now they realize they want to come here. So question mark also arises. That time, 1947, many people across the world risked their life to come here. Many people lost many of their loved ones. That aspect is also there. Then why should they be used as special treatment? All vote bank politics, we all know. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. But that aspect is also there. Yes, it is okay if you are prosecuted minorities there, but why now only? Yes, because there is only one Israel, a very small country, but they are most of happy outside the Israel only. Also, only okay, Hindu type. We give a reason. The Hindu country is there. All Hindus, Buddhist, but Nepal is a Hindu country. But we had very volatile relations with Nepal all the time. Bhutan is a Buddhist country. Very peaceful relations we had with Bhutan. I guess Maldives also. Maldives Muslim country. I guess always very friendly relations. So that aspect is also there then. That is all prosecuted. Everyone should be given, not just minorities in those countries. Now Bangladesh refugee crisis will come. Ethics in IR. Important aspect it happens. Vasudev Kutumbakam, world is one family, so why to discriminate? So let's get to neutrality versus impartiality. Now these two values come at loggerheads. They are conflicting in nature. What is neutrality? What is neutrality? Following rules, regulation, policy commitment. What is policy commitment? Once policy has been made, you don't apply your mind and you just implement. That is neutrality. Okay? Understood neutrality? Already explained many times. Neutrality, being neutral. Don't bring your emotions in policies or dealing with people. That is what Weber also said. Emotional less bureaucracy. He talks about neutrality, but impartiality is what? Being fair. How can you be fair without emotions? So it comes at loggerheads now. Now what to do? Civil servants are bound to follow rules. If you go overboard rules, it will be disciplinary conduct. But to ensure quality of decision making, ensure compassion, only impartiality can happen. With impartiality, you can ensure that. So this too comes at loggerheads. Which to follow? Conflicting interests, ethical dilemma happens. Which to follow then? Question arises. If you follow this, then you're not following rules. You are going overboard. What has been this frame has been set up to you. Lakshman Rekha of rules. If you follow neutrality, you will be here in the box. Impartiality out of the box. But out of the box, discretion you have used. Power plus discretion minus accountability is corruption. So it can be scrutinized. So it also says further the concept of neutrality has also been criticized. It's not inherent to ensure social justice. It is not inherent, it's not in connoissance with the democratic values. That is how it comes at loggerheads. So Pandit Nehru criticized this concept of neutrality. He was totally against bureaucracy in India. He was against Patel's vision of this is a steel frame. He said we don't want bureaucracy. So that's why he said neutrality will fossilize bureaucracy. This is his statement, fossilize bureaucracy. You understand fossilization? Fossilization, you understand? Yes or no? Fossilization, someone dies, some animal dies, it becomes a fossil. Fossil se banta hai. Fossil fuels, crude oil. Fossilization of bureaucracy if only it remains neutral. That is fossilization of bureaucracy. So, also humanity cannot survive being neutral. Can you remain emotionless throughout their decisions? But bureaucracy, entire structure by Weber is what? Is based on neutrality. It talks about emotionless bureaucracy, legal rational authority. That is, you should exercise authority as per rules and don't apply your mind, apply rules. But here it says to apply your mind. So it comes at loggerheads. It will also hamper creativity and innovation. You'll think in the box, not out of the box thinking. So it remains in conflicting situations. So what could be the solution for this? And also it many times happen, you go with impartiality, you make some errors. Error by human nature, foresight, everyone can't have a very huge foresight. That error will happen and you will be caught by corruption agencies. You have misused your power and discretion. 2G scam? What was 2G scam all about? It says it didn't give bidding. Bidding hona chahiye. Bidding, you understand? I want to sell this license. Everyone bid. But he gave for first come, first serve. Now, that time it may be right decision. But CAG said it was misuse of discretion. It caused a loss of 7.3 lakh crore rupees. Bidding would have garnered this much revenue. So it became application of mind resulted in this. Neutrality would have not resulted in this. This is neutrality and impartiality. So what can be a way out of this? That was policy decision. Then impartial applied mind ki first come first serve. Even if you give licenses cheap, the services will be cheap for the people. Neutrality will ensure they follow the rules. First come first serve. But later what happened? 3G, 4G spectrum was auction. Less revenue than this. That too, if you consider inflation, then it's very less. 5G also, I guess, no bidder came, something happened there also. This then, a question arises on credibility of CAG also that time, institutional integrity. So, see, hope you are getting a bit technical terms. This will be a bit technical lecture. If anyone doesn't understand, ask. I'll try to explain in a more simpler way. So that was policy decision taken by that government that time. There must be some parameters, we don't know. Maybe their thinking was, we give cheaper licenses, services to the people will be cheaper. How many 122 licenses were sold? So imagine number of mobile operators that time. So much competition. The competition, invisible hand, Adam Smith guides the market. So much competition, automatically rates would have come down. But Supreme Court using article 142 or 143. Which article? 143. It cancelled those licenses. Then it remained 3-4 players. Now 2 players, major players. Duopoly, very dangerous. One is increasing prices, other is also increasing. Vodafone, we don't know what is happening with Vodafone. Remember, if there were 122 operators, what would have happened एक ने पढ़ा दिया, बाकी गिरा देते और competition. Also, the other player, Airtel, has already invested a lot of infra in 2G, 3G, 4G. This Jio directly came in 5G, I guess. 4G. So this much infra they did not be invested. This technology becomes obsolete now. 2G, 3G. Before that, 1G also was there. SMS, text messages, 1G. 2G, I guess, internet. 3G, faster internet. 2G, GPRS. This faster. CDS, CD, MA. Cellular data, mobile application. So this is so what should be the way out of this? Any doubts? थोड़ा technical है lecture, कुछ doubt होगा तो please ask. What should be the way out of this? Neutrality versus impartiality. How to ensure that you promote creativity also, and how to ensure that power autonomy is not misused also. That too much of neutrality will result in fossilization of the bureaucracy. Too much of neutrality, yes, totally extinct. That is Nehru's statement when there was debate going on whether what kind of administrative structure should India adopt after independence. Totally against British. This is British colonial legacy. Elitism, etc. is still there because of colonial legacy. British civil services, ICS became IS, IPS, and etc. Yes. No participation today. Everyone is in monsoon mood. Focus. Okay, situation. But how to ensure that? See, take a situation, situational ethics. See, there should be cultivation also of creativity. You cultivate creativity, don't punish. Cultivation culture. Allow people to take risk also. Cultivation of a culture of creativity and innovation. Don't punish them. Modi ji came in 2014. Modi ji said, you take decision. I assure you I won't punish you. But the decision means decision that benefit my government only. Okay. He was a lot of statements were made in 14, I guess. Then also there should be differentiation between bona fide and mala fide errors. Bona fide and mala fide. Bona fide errors, mala fide. Errors will happen, but intention matters. Intention, IPCC. You remember or you forgot IPCC? Intention, purpose, consequences, circumstances. So, intention is right. Distinguish whether intention is right, then don't punish. That is, you will be given some discretion also. If intention is wrong, mala fide error, punish. Leadership should also encourage innovation. Leadership structure should be, architecture should be such that it should encourage innovation. That's why the matrix type organization should be there. That leadership should be promoted. Leadership, everyone is a leader there. No one is superior subordinate. So that free thinking and free willing will promote creativity. Okay. Also, anti-corruption agencies, the 5 C's, should also differentiate between mala fide, bona fide errors. See, after 2G scam happened, bureaucrats stopped taking decisions because mala fide, bona fide errors were not identified, and everyone started to say UPA2. There was policy paralysis. Policy paralysis. Entire administration was paralyzed that time. No one was taking a decision for the fear of punishment and absence of this bona fide, mala fide errors. So you must have heard that time policy paralysis. Entire administration is paralyzed because see, many scam, 2G, CWG, every scam started coming out. Bureaucrats got scared. What to do now? To bring innovation, creativity, we need to go beyond rules. But this is all happening now. They stopped taking decision. No decision was taken. Even government couldn't do anything. So much unpopular it had become. That's why when Modi ji came, Modi ji said, you take decision, I will protect you. So remove that policy paralysis. That is, so mala fide, bona fide distinction is very important. Here intention matters. What intention had you taken? Intention matters. Errors can happen. Even ARC2 talks about this. So when CAG is scrutinizing the reports, action taken reports which will be submitted in the Parliament at the Public Accounts Committee. So they should distinguish between them, and CAG also should talk with the administrators, justify this decision. Should not blatantly criticize and table that report. That it talks about reforms in CAG as well. You know CAG, everyone? Article 148, Comptroller Auditor General of India. Who is CAG now? I guess one person from Orissa cadre, Murmu. GC something name is there. GC Murmu, right? This is the CAG now, right? Remember the names also. Question comes, write about functions of CAG. Okay, we'll write everything, but give some examples also. Add some past CAG is also. Who is this? So this person is the current CAG. VK Shunglu, then Ashok Chanda, Vinod Rai, and the current. To enrich your answer. Question had come, I guess, once election commission or something. Attorney General of India question had come. Simple question. It asked about, suppose, functions of Attorney General. We should write Article 76 also. Current Attorney General, famous Attorney Generals, recent case which the Attorney General fought. That should you also give examples, right? So see, should be the way out. In fact, the conduct rules of 1964, conduct rules, you know, civil services conduct rules also talks about that you should go beyond rules to take creative decisions. But All India Service Conduct Rules 2014 also talks about neutrality. Now the confusion happens again. All India Service Rules, one of the values of civil services to 2014, amended by Modi ji, he put the word neutrality. And 64 talks about going beyond rules to ensure this. So largely there should be adherence to rules, but you should, if situation demands, creativity is needed, you should also go beyond rules, but most of the time you should follow rules. That is your work, to follow rules and implement rules. So things are clear, neutrality versus impartiality. So write down this much. Okay, no issues. Bona fide, mala fide. You take a decision. You go beyond rules. Rule says to do this. Suppose Aadhaar, you have to give rules to the beneficiaries only. Person doesn't have Aadhaar. So your decision will be in the rules not to give the food grains and let the people starve to death. Now intention matters here. Intention was good. You went beyond rules and gave them food grains. So that was bona fide intention, good intention. Mala fide, okay, you create more fake beneficiaries and siphon of these food grains to the market and sell them. That is mala fide intent. Intention, purpose, circumstances, consequences. Remember one of the sessions sometime back, ages back, I guess, years back, decades back, eons back. Yes, I keep revising, everything is interconnected. It's not in silos. So write down now. Neutrality versus impartiality, both are important values. Both are important values, but they often be at loggerheads, often be in conflict. That simple way, they often be in conflict. As neutrality is about following rules, regulations, without the application of mind. Following rules, regulation without the application of mind. It is one of the ethos in civil services, one of the important ethos in civil services, according to Max Weber. It is one of the important ethos in civil services, according to Max Weber. Whereas impartiality means being fair, non-discriminatory. Impartiality means being fair, non-discriminatory. Being fair, non-discriminatory, taking decisions with the application of mind. Taking decisions with the application of mind. Because of their inherent differing nature, because of their inherent differing nature, because of their means those two values differing nature, conflict arises. There is also debate. There's also a debate. There is also a debate whether humans should take decision as per law. Even if take decisions as per law, even if they know they can make better decisions. They can make better decisions by going beyond the law. Going beyond the law. The concept of neutrality has also been criticized. Concept of neutrality has also been created as Pandit Nehru outlined. Neutrality will result in the fossilization of bureaucracy. Outline neutrality will result in the fossilization of bureaucracy. Fossilization. Fossilization of bureaucracy. Also, humanity cannot advance if it is forced to act. Humanity cannot advance. Also, humanity cannot advance if it is forced to act as per law. Society will not experience any innovation, creativity. Society will not experience any innovation and creativity if they keep taking decisions only as per law. If they keep taking decisions only as per law. So civil servants face a dilemma. As if not acting per law, may invite punishment. Not acting per law may invite punishment. However, that does not mean that does not mean civil servants are free to make any decisions without following the law. However, that does not mean civil servants are free to make decisions without following the law. So right now solution lies in, provide solution for this. Solution lies in cultivating a culture of innovation, and creativity. Cultivating a culture of innovation and creativity. Right, next point. Distinguishing between mala fide and bona fide errors. Distinguishing between mala fide and bona fide errors. Leadership, next point. Leadership too should encourage innovation. Double O, leadership too should encourage innovation. Modi ji, famous statement, you take decisions, I will not punish. That is leadership encouraging innovation. Okay. Next, right? anti-corruption agencies, should understand the nuances of bona fide and mala fide errors. Nuances or finer aspects. If you don't understand nuances, like write finer aspects of bona fide and mala fide errors. If you don't understand nuances word, write finer aspects of bona fide and mala fide errors. Or write nuances, write anyone. Errors. Anti-corruption agency should understand the finer aspects of bona fide and mala fide errors. In fact, conduct rules of write in a conclusion type. In fact, conduct rules of 1964 has the provision to go beyond law to make quality decisions. It does allow for the application of wisdom. It does allow for the application of wisdom. But still, neutrality remains an important principle. Even outlined in the All India Service Conduct Rules of 2014. Outlined in the All India Service Conduct Rules of 2014, right? AIS Conduct Rules 2014. Even outlined in the All India Services Conduct Rules of 2014. Adherence to rules is also important. Adherence, sticking to rules, following rules is also important. Otherwise, there will be chaos in the administration. What do you understand by wisdom? Rational thinking. Yes, for common good. But also you can connect with Gandhiji's talisman also. Okay, when you are taking decision whether it's mala fide, bona fide, you can connect with Gandhiji's talisman. You understand Gandhiji's talisman? You don't know? Were you absent that day when it was said? Gandhiji gave a talisman. Yes, anyone tell what is Gandhiji's talisman? What is Gandhi? But at least frame his sentences. I showed you image also. When in doubt, recall the face of the most poorest person and decide whether your decision will improve his Yes, improve his life. Will there be Swaraj in his life, Sarvodaya in his life? That is Gandhi's talisman. So what are your conscience? It's awakening your conscience. But you should also have some wisdom, application of wisdom. They should also think that way when auditing, making things accountable. See, Nehru also criticized the other aspect of neutrality, that is political neutrality. What is one aspect is policy aspect and one is political. What is political neutrality? Yes, apolitical. What he says that people are inborn with some political leanings. You cannot be totally neutral. Everyone has inborn political leanings. We know process of socialization, how it decides. Then it will inherently have. But that's why he was totally against bureaucracy in India. There should not be a bureaucracy. We should adopt the American system of spoil system. That is, every minister will bring his own persons to advise him. That way he was talking about. But Nehru, Sardar Patel prevailed. And so we have this steel frame of India. Steel frame is now rusted, corroded, bent, dismantled, broken. So the dome of democracy is falling down. It depends on coalition to coalition. See, even in single party government, democracy also sustains. Many times coalition government, UPA 2, federal relations were very strong. No arbitrary removal of governor, etc. Then single party government came in 2014 and no federalism, total unitary state. COVID rules were framed without the consultation of chief ministers. Many governor dismiss, many transfers also, many state government also pull down. Washing machine, which LG washing machine or Samsung, corrupt clothes gets washed. MPs, MLA target, they will fall down the government, then they will become minister, new government is formed. Karnataka, Maharashtra, all dance of democracy happened. Yes, Madhya Pradesh also. Yes, we were talking about what? People, yes, people develop. House becomes home. House becomes home, we have some feelings. One minister, one reason he was gave for bringing down a government in a state, that I have stayed in this house in Delhi since my childhood. I have seen my father. Father also big politician. I have grown up. I have lot of memories. I cannot leave this house. He lost Lok Sabha election. So, he brought down the government in Madhya Pradesh so that he can return. That party refused to send him to Rajya Sabha. He brought down that government. So, house's memories are preserved and that party nominated him in Rajya Sabha. But who will tell, this is not your house. This is our house. We pay taxes for you to stay in Lutyens, Delhi, the posh area in this country. Just remain forever now in that house. This is how politics without principles. One more thing I wanted to say, I forgot in this. Anyways, we'll move further. Democratic attitude. Versus bureaucratic attitude. Yes, coalition government we are talking. See, in coalition government, people say democracy flourishes and single party, it goes down. So, single party government, we all know what all happened, but it also depends upon the conscience of the single party in power. Nehru was also very strong government. He promoted federalism. Now also coalition government is there, but federalism only for 2 states. Major chunk of the budget has been taken by Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. So it depends on constitutional morality. To what extent the provisions of constitution have been followed according to the intentions of the constitutional makers. To what extent the morality of parliamentary democracy is maintained. That is constitutional morality. I guess the days are outnumbered for coalition government. This coalition government. This is my prediction. Few months there may be a change in government. So let's come here. Democratic attitude and bureaucratic attitude. Yes, very important question can come in this year's mains. Coalition government. I feel 2-3 things. This also neighborhood relations. Coalition government. Deputy Speaker. Environmental ethics. Conflict of interest. This may come this year. Or if not, then next year. Nowadays, UPSC is asking question with a lag. They are not asking this year's only. They are asking last year's this year and this year's next year. They also try to do some things that it does not become predictable. Now everyone will teach this year's current affairs. पता चला पिछले साल का current affair आ गया. क्या करोगे फिर? This happens in prelims. Also happens. That is what is democratic attitude. What is attitude now? Attitude has been taught. What is attitude? Yes, from backside, you people. Yes, attitude. Huh? Behavior is a manifestation of attitude. Watch videos if you are missing. Continuity is the class is there. Yes, what is attitude? Yes, predisposition. Learned predisposition. Yes, that is how learned predisposition towards an object. That is your attitude. So democratic attitude will be towards democratic objects. Democracy. What are democratic objects? Liberty, equality, fraternity are democratic objects. What is bureaucratic attitude? Rules, regulation. Yes, rules, regulation. Weberian ethos are bureaucratic attitude, loyalty to the service, commitment, spirit of service, career based, merit based, neutrality, or of bureaucratic values. So inherently there exists a conflict. Democracy promotes freedom. Bureaucracy restricts freedom. It says you act as per rules. Don't go overboard the rules. Democracy promotes expression of feelings also. Bureaucracy talks about impersonality. Don't express your feelings. Follow the law. See, you go to any government office, see how totally without emotions they are. क्या काम है? This is you say, ये lunch break चालू है. Lunch break चालू है. Sir, I have come from very far. Please take. नहीं lunch break. They won't understand it without feelings. They want to follow the rule. Lunch break. This to this. This. One document is missing. Allow. Pursue. Following rules without emotions. That is bureaucracy. And democracy is the exact opposite. Expression of yourself is democracy. So they are constantly these at loggerheads. Objectivity, impartiality, impersonality. Sorry. It talks about democracy about subjective expression of feelings. Totally loggerheads. So issue arises rules versus public interest. In within this, okay. It talks about centralization and control. What it talks about? Decentralization, democracy, Gram Swaraj, bottom up. Centralization, control, they will control with rules. Command. It talks about bureaucratic leadership. Superior is the leader. Hierarchy. It talks about democratic leadership. Everyone is equal. Yes, horizontal flat. Heterarchy. Other word is heterarchy. Not important for you. leadership. Now, bureaucracy is working for democracy, but inherently bureaucratic attitude is this. So conflict will happen. What should we do then? The following rules will result in delay in action. We all know rules means delay. You follow rules, get this, get that. But it won't ensure compassion. Similarly, Aadhaar fails rule to follow rule. But democracy says social justice is in their preamble. Justice, which social, economic, political. Then social justice is hampered. This then conflict happens. They should. Democracy needs problem solving. Many people have problems, but bureaucracy is what? Bureaucracy is about following rules. You follow rules. He's saying Jallikattu is happening, but rules are this. State government is framed. He is an animal lover. What he can do? Follow rules. Problem solving is the domain of who? Whose domain it is? Problem solving. Problem solving is domain of who? Bureaucracy is following rules, implementing rules, and problems. Suppose there is a problem manual scavenging. No rule. Yes, government. That is elected representatives' domain is this. But he has the technical skills to solve the problems. He is a think tank. So whenever, if to ensure social justice, some initiatives are taken. Armstrong Palmer took his initiative, overboarding the rules, maybe democratic attitude. Prashant Nair, I guess, Operation Suleimani in Kerala. You know Operation Suleimani? You know or don't know? Huh? Yes. Everyone was given coupon to go eat in restaurants. They will give, administration will give you coupon. Poor people, they can eat in any restaurant. They will redeem those coupons. Administration will redeem those coupons. समझ गए? Hostel में जैसा होता था या coupons, and also there was also food banks were opened. All food was collected that were given. So hunger-free district. No hunger in Kozhikode. It's Kozhikode district, I guess. But this is work of who? Democracy. So member of parliament and MLAs were angry on it. This leadership role is of not you, it's us. So it becomes what? Then this acts will result in, democratic attitude will result in violation of principle of neutrality also. You are going beyond things. Okay, neutrality is what? Being neutral to law. So if you have democratic attitude, you are acting against conduct rules. Follow step by step, a bit technical, I know, but this is the heart of case studies. It will ask a question: what are the ethical dilemmas in this case study? This all dimension you have to open. Democracy is what? People? Outside होने ना, rules के अंदर तो नहीं है. He used his discretion. That is the mandate of political master. All this, because if anything happens, food poisoning happens, MP has to answer in the parliament. MLA had to answer in the assembly, Kerala assembly. He won't answer because there is ministerial responsibility and civil services anonymity. We discuss at the end this. If things are clear, how it is at loggerheads. On the other hand, other aspect is what? If totally bureaucratic attitude, no democratic attitude, then no creativity, no innovation. Like it is said, bureaucrat will be trapped in this box of rules. Rules will become ends. They are means to an end. rules will become an end in itself. Keep acting as per rules. Rules also get outdated if not updated. Outdated happens. Section 377 got outdated. Navtej Singh Johar case, Supreme Court. Now I read today in the Indian Express, someone has gone to Delhi High Court and saying reinstate this in Bharat Nyaya Sanhita. It has been used. It's been misused now. You also read some profanity things were written. So it has been misused. They are saying that people having forcefully having same-sex relationship, same-sex physical relationship. The applicant is saying restore this, criminalize same-sex relationship. That is how it is going against the nature. Briefly only I read. I didn't read in the detail. I was in a hurry. So this is no alternative. There is no. She is saying the applicant is saying I guess in Calcutta or Delhi High Court. I need to check again. They are saying insert this in Bharat Nyaya Sanhita. Most likely Supreme Delhi High Court or whichever High Court is that will reject. I hope they reject only. It is against the freedom. Western countries we know. It's against inherent feeling. I think this is long pending question in UPSC whether there should be a National Commission for LGBTQ as well. It's National Commission of SC, ST and Women. No National Commission for LGBTQAI plus. Okay, anyways. So we also know how it conflicts with the concept of neutrality, but following only this will be result in trapping in this. So rules becomes end in itself. They'll keep following rule without the end of social justice, without the outcome of achieving the goal of social justice. What the further thinkers say that this will lead to goal displacement. Goal is social justice, but goals becomes following rules only, not social justice. So what should be the solution for this? That this inherently bureaucratic attitude, but has to work to sustain democracy. Also needs to ensure that a smooth transition when there is change in the government. That's how democratic functions are there. But in bureaucratic attitude is totally against this. There also can be total democratization in organization. We know Leon Panetta in US under Obama administration had restructured and total democratic organization. It led to total chaos. Everyone is coming, everyone is giving suggestions, no structured suggestions. Chaotic, no stability. So within bureaucracy, first question, within bureaucracy, should there be democracy? And whether bureaucracy as an entire institution should become democratic. First question is within bureaucracy, that is within civil services. Bureaucracy, you understand? Bureau means office in German, I guess. Bureaucracy, manning people office, that is bureaucracy. So should there be democracy within bureaucracy? That is chambers should be dismantled and this type of organization should be that. Come to first, then second. Yes or no? District collector should sit along with all the DCs, BDOs, ADCs. They should sit together. No hierarchy, no triangle. Not a triangle, but a flat organization. Matrix organization. Yeah, better, yeah, better, yeah, better. This is triangle, top. PM is here. Why? Yes, total chaos it will happen. So there will not be a total democracy within bureaucracy. Yes, partial. Also it depends on organization. If organization is in creative field, suppose in AI, department of AI they should create. Departments of science, technology is irrelevant. Science is very different, technology is very different. Department AI, this is upcoming industrial revolution. So that type of creativity is needed. There should be a flat. Total democracy should be there. And bureaucracy should be totally guided with democratic values or bureaucratic values. Mix of both. Yes, bureaucracy should promote democratization adhering to bureaucratic values within that framework. And in public administration, we called about there should be marriage between democracy and bureaucracy. This is no romanticism. So largely bureaucracy should be immediately influenced by bureaucratic attitude. And immediate influence should be bureaucratic attitude and larger influence should be democratic attitude. Okay. Otherwise, if only this, totally dehumanized bureaucracy. It has to promote this. It has to promote democracy. Also, rules versus public interest, also same debate will happen. Rules is bureaucracy, public interest, democracy. So it should find a way to promote public interest within the rules, not total. Find rules, make recommendation to the minister to change rules. That only, if you totally overboard, then you have to mala fide, bona fide. Then if your intention matters. But today you are taking that risk. Tomorrow 5 C's come after you. What will you do? That is mala fide, bona fide distinction should be properly made. Application of wisdom, following Gandhiji's talisman to service. Maybe it becomes rules too much followed. You deny service to the people. Yes. Your goal is also social justice. All India Service Rules 2014 also mentions social justice as one of the values of civil services. That just mentions that. So that's why there is this conflict happening: democratic attitude and bureaucratic attitude. Any doubts? Things are technical for some time. If you are missing out something, please ask. I'll try to refine more. Things are clear. See, important concept. It has come also. Don't write that. Don't take a stand that yes, there should be total democracy within bureaucracy. Then you don't have a proper understanding. Don't take a stand also that there will be total bureaucratic culture. And they'll think he wants to take back to pre-liberalization era. Because if you don't understand this democratic and bureaucratic values, what you write? You know how they are loggerheads. You should also explain how they are conflicting. Inherently, it's totally opposite. These two. This talks about control. This talks about freedom. Inherently very opposite. That's why. Yes. That's why many were against this bureaucracy. Control everything, it's suppressing everything. Bureaucratic culture is suitable when there is chaos to maintain stability. After independence, there was total chaos. All good officers of the Indian civil services, British, were leaving. Who will control this chaos? Country was burning due to partition. Chaos, total chaos. So it brought stability, this bureaucracy. But now, internally we are much stable than before. We need creativity. New chaos is happening. Poverty, hunger. To deal with that, innovation, Operation Suleimani. Then again, then question arises: you became a leader. Leader is member of parliament, is the MLA. People also then garner ambition to become politician also. Then total problematic. Then neutrality total questionable. That neutrality, political neutrality. That's why it builds at loggerheads. Okay, this is clear. So write down the democratic attitude versus bureaucratic attitude. Democratic attitude relates to democratic values. Such as liberty, equality, freedom, justice. People who possess these values have a democratic attitude. Who possess these values have democratic attitude. Next, bureaucratic attitude. Relates to bureaucracy following rules, procedures. Relates to bureaucracy following rules, procedure, merit based. Bureaucracy following rules, procedure, merit based, objective, impersonal, in both. Next slide or next paratype. In both, there can be a conflict. There can be conflict in many ways. There can be conflict in many ways. Both, that is democratic attitude and bureaucratic attitude. In both, there can be conflict in many ways. Right, first, rules, procedures versus public interest. Rules, procedures versus public interest. Centralization versus decentralization. Third, control and command versus democratic leadership. Control and command versus democratic leadership. Basically, following rules and procedures results in delay in action. Results in delay in action. But if bureaucracy follows democracy, But if bureaucracy follows democracy, there may not be clarity. Clarity. It will also be difficult to respond. As there will be chaos. It will also be difficult to respond as there will be chaos. Also, if administrator becomes a leader, they go beyond the conduct rules. Go beyond the conduct rules. Write an illustration. Illustration. It is an illustration. If suppose civil servant is to execute laws and policy in society. If civil servant is supposed to execute laws and policies in the society, there are many problems. If civil servant directly solves these problems, then there will be a conflict between administration and the elected representative. Example, when Prashant Nair DM of Kozhikode district Kozhikode is in Kerala, one of the districts, initiated Operation Suleimani. It was objected by the local leaders. Right now, after this, to some extent, write a question, whether bureaucracy should have democratic culture or bureaucratic culture. Whether bureaucracy should have bureaucratic culture or democratic culture. Now write some different views on this. Now write democratic culture will reduce bureaucracy's effectiveness. But instill democratic values. Now after that, right, to some extent democracy is possible. To some extent, democracy is possible. However, bureaucracy can't be totally democratic. But should be guided by democracy. Should be guided by democratic culture. It can't be totally democratic also. It can't be totally bureaucratic also. But you should be guided by democratic culture. That is, you should seek to promote democracy, not totally abandon bureaucracy. Because main aim of the bureaucracy is क्या क्या? Oh, I framed it myself. So, however, see, क्या लिखा है एक बार? However, yes, however, bureaucracy shouldn't be totally democratic, but can't be, but should be guided by democratic values or democratic culture. Because, right? Because the main aim of bureaucracy is to ensure democracy. Because the main aim of bureaucracy is to sustain democracy, instill democracy, propagate democracy, promote democracy. So draw this diagram. Everyone has drawn. Those who have not, please draw. This is bureaucracy should be majorly influenced by bureaucratic attitude. To a larger extent, influence should be democratic attitude. Now write under this only dimension of conflict. Dimension of conflict between rules and public interest. Within this only, bureaucratic attitude versus democratic attitude. Dimension of conflict between rules and public interest. See, then you can just also connect with that conflict. Recent Delhi case, some case, Supreme Court gave verdict on Delhi government, I guess. You remember? Yes, LG Powers, that he has a power to appoint aldermen. So there too, democratic attitude, bureaucratic attitude. Also very hot topic for this year means favorite area of Delhi government, and many times 3-4 times they have asked. Whenever these things happen, they ask. This 3 times already they have asked this Delhi government and etc. So right now, democracy is needed by the people. Democracy is by the people, right? So democracy is by the people, not needed, is by the people, and people are ultimate in democracy. And people are ultimate in democracy. They are the most powerful person. And rules have been made to serve the people. Rules have been framed to serve the people, and many times rules become the base for denying service to the people. Rules become the base for denying service to the people. Here you can give that illustration of Aadhaar authentication fails, no food grains for the poor people, so let them starve. So this is again democratic attitude versus bureaucratic attitude. I'm framing the sentence, wait, okay. लिखना है कि तुम्हें क्या करना है? See, Aadhaar authentication, food grains a person will get if Aadhaar is there. Aadhaar authentication happens, food grains. That is service to the people. But what rules say? If Aadhaar fails, rules say Aadhaar, then food grains. If Aadhaar fails, no food grains. So rules become the basis of denying service to the people. But rules are framed to serve the people. So let them die of starvation. So that is again bureaucratic attitude versus democratic attitude. Democracy is service to the people. Bureaucracy following rules. Okay. So next is transparency versus confidentiality. Now what is transparency? पता है ट्रांसपेरेंसी क्या है? ट्रांसपेरेंसी पारदर्शिता, आई गेस. क्या है पारदर्शिता? ट्रांसपेरेंसी, यस, ओपननेस. Transparent means transparent, open, that is how the rules are made, decisions are made, on what basis decisions are made. That should be transparent, open. Confidentiality is keeping things confidential, not open to everyone. So this also comes at loggerheads. How? Good governance, RTI, ethical governance, RTI, good governance, ethical governance, citizen charter, all call for transparency. One of the values of that hexagon is of good governance. What is that? One of the values transparency. Other is participation, efficiency, effectiveness, equity, rule of law, accountability, responsibility and transparency. One of the hexagon is transparency, RTI, but bureaucracy is information hoarder. They will keep information to themselves. So this is again, you can also relate with democratic attitude and bureaucratic attitude. On one hand, we need transparency. On the other hand, we need to maintain confidentiality. Like I said many times, bureaucracy knows all the private aspects of the Prime Minister, CMO, but they maintain confidentiality. Again, this democracy is of the people. It's information hoarder. That is what bureaucracy is superior. They have a lot of information. So this is again now. On the other hand, you have to promote transparency, this mechanism. Other hand, there are, OSA, OSA, Official Secret Act is there. Official Secret Act, एक act है that tells to classifies the information as confidential. And this Indian Evidence Act was also there. Now I guess Bharat Suraksha और न्याय संहिता, साक्ष्य संहिता I guess. There too, you have to keep some information confidential. That is confidentiality. So again, this comes at loggerheads. What to do then? Confidentiality is more of a positive term. It is negative is secrecy. Secrecy. It's more of has a positive connotation. That is, you keep things confidential for some time, and then you release the information. In US administration, very good culture. After 20 or 25 years, they will release all the confidential information by themselves to improve the decision making, to improve the culture of civil services, to improve the efficiency in administration. So, majorly they declassify a lot of information. Pentagon pay, that security aspect they don't, but administration etc. they release. That's why the bureaucracy efficiency aati. They will study this, how decision is made. They will ingrain a culture of openness. So यहाँ पे पता चल गया एक bona fide decisions लिए थे. तो bona fide they will instill the culture of creativity, taking risks. India में बहुत कम declassification होती है. I guess Modi ji declassified some Indira Gandhi time. That too a political motive. They should declassify everything. So I think they had declassified confidential information. So see, this comes at loggerheads. On the other side, they have to do this. Other side, they have to do this. Now what to do? Conflict between happens. Then civil servants are in dilemma. What to do? Which to take? But who decides what is national security? Corruption happens, I stamp it national security. No release of this information. I guess Rafale, same thing happened. Confidential information, nothing will be released. Some Rafales, I guess 126 before they were decided they will be made in India, everything. Then after that, direct from France will take directly from France, not make in India. Then the CA's people questioned happened, I guess 2019 elections. Then confidential information, threat to national security, no transparency. Now, but there also Parliament is not accessible for that confidential information. Also, many times, good intention also. Committee makes a report, you must have this committee, that committee. It keeps confidential, submits to the government. Government may release, but many times government also does not release. Many committees have been framed, their recommendations have not been released. Okay, so 1 or 2 committees were there, they were kept in limbo. Confidential data. But on the years, this is democratic aspects. Good governance, etc. And there, this side, confidentiality. Official Secret Act is also there. But RTI, there was a provision that RTI has overriding powers over Official Secret Act. But then whistleblower bill came in 2016 or 17. It says confidential information will not be released. So it said RTI doesn't have overriding powers over OSC. So this dilemma happens then. Here too, what should be the solution? Confidential क्या है? Confidential. Stamp लग गया confidential. Yes, very good. There should be classification of information beforehand. What genre of information should be confidential and what should be not confidential. Also, there should be adoption of good practices. Release declassifying information after several years. 20-30 years, you start declassification of all the information. Also, PIO should be well versed with identification of information. You know who is PIO? Public Information Officer. You make an RTI, it will go to PIO. इसको पता होना चाहिए what is confidential. That is, he should have all that in his computer or database. This is confidential. Total classification. There should not be here. I need not decide what is confidential, non-confidential. So good practices should be instilled. So that will ensure that confidentiality and transparency are intermingling. Not too many confidential. Secrecy is totally outdated. Secrecy, government which works in secrecy is digging its own grave. People will protest only. So this is confidentiality versus secrecy. With transparency. Also, there should be a effective grievance redressal mechanism also. Make an RTI. Yes, it's confidential. What is the grievance here? Where you will go? You'll keep ऊपर क्या SIC स्टेट इंफॉर्मेशन कमिश्नर CIC कॉन्फिडेंस बोल दे क्या कर लेंगे जाओगे कोर्ट्स will also say this is confidential. Yes, you are wasting our time. 5,000 rupees fine on you. This is so see this conflict. You just remember the crux is conflict how it happens. So transparency is a value of good governance, RTI, democracy. And here we have this government works on confidential. So there then conflict happens. See, yes, very technical, but understand this is where your case studies will depend. Solving case studies. Some will solve. Let's see how you react to case studies in few days. So this is clear. Confidentiality and see after this there is law and ethics. Law, you know what is law, statement of reason and how it comes with conflict with ethics. The law get outdated, laws, everything was I guess taught. Should I repeat or we will manage, revise them there only, okay. Law and ethics is also one conflict will happen, law, ethics or law or conscience. Conscience you interpret in terms of civil services conscience. That will discuss again crisis of conscience in coming sessions. So interpret in terms of civil servant, okay. The question, depending on the question, how you will interpret. If it is more of a disciplinary question like ethics, talking about the field of ethics, can ethics be in connoissance with law? Whether ethics floats on law, whether law floats on ethics, that it is talking about more of an ethical perspective. But if it talks about civil services, then mold it according to this, okay. That I won't make you write, you manage yourself that. So write down this, transparency versus confidentiality. Number of vacancies, that should not be confidential. Yes. Yes, so that's discretion, na? Not refuse. You see, very good example: transparency versus confidentiality. National security. That is Rajnath ji. Yes, enjoy middle class, give power. Enjoy now middle class. Middle class is most tax. Middle class is service orientation. Service oriented in our country. Middle class, And sir, vacancies are going down. Modi ji is saying do startup. Yes, you get what you deserve. Middle class voted wholeheartedly. Yes, yes. Startups से अभी हाँ budget one of the pillars is yes, and fourth pillar also, third pillar social justice, human resource development and social justice. Human resource development, that is you give employment. Before it was industry development, startup development, startup culture. Yes, power of coalition government. If same single majority would have come, be rest assured, lot of changes would have happened in civil services also. Cut throat of vacancies would be cut, age and attempt to would have been cut. If this was a single party government this time, it was on their agenda. Now nothing will happen. Enjoy. Very difficult to bring reforms in coalition government unless good intention is there. Good reforms happen in UPA 2. Right to work, right to information. Many things happen in UPA 2 only. MG Narega. UPA 1. Yes, 2008. वो freedom of information bill वाजपेयी गवर्नमेंट शायद लाई थी, वो पास नहीं होता ऐसा कुछ था. अच्छा 5 में था क्या? अच्छा अच्छा. हाँ, but right to work, MG Narega, right based approach to social justice. Also vacancies were also there. I remember it is 2014 or 13, 1400 vacancies were. 1400 now 700 comes, double of that, I guess 700, 800, 1000. That was the IRS was also very significant. After GST, IRS powers went to the state government. IRS customs, उसकी बहुत सारी vacancies आती थी. GST होने के बाद states are also empowered at GST council में. So that vacancy 150 to 200 तो IRS customs की vacancy होती थी. IRS IT की sorry. That has been totally reduced. So that's why the three services vacancies are more or less same, 180, 180, 150 and 40, 50. I guess IFS they should increase vacancies. विश्व गुरु बनना है तो ज़्यादा, but they want lateral entry there. अपने लोग bureaucrats, foreign diplomats. Right, transparency versus confidentiality. Confidentiality. Since the adoption of RTI, transparency has become a important value. Transparency has become an important value. On the other hand, civil services is obliged by Official Secret Act, obliged by Official Secret Act, Indian Evidence Act, which enables them to report information as confidential. Report information as confidential. Although RTI has overriding powers, over OSA and Indian Evidence Act, although RTI has overriding powers over Official Secret Act and Indian Evidence Act. But Whistleblower Act 2014 Whistleblower Act 2014 Whistleblower Act, there is one Whistleblower Act also, has provisions under which information related to OSA should not be released. Further, should not be released. Further, All India Service Rules 2014, AIS 2014. Further, AIS 2014, All India Service Rules 2014 mentions both confidentiality and transparency as important values. Now, be in flux. Now, right further, confidentiality is about keeping information secret and not disclosing it. Keeping information secret and not disclosing it. It is not about maintaining secrecy. It is not about maintaining secrecy. Rather, information may be important at that particular time. Rather, information may not be important. Information may be important at that particular time. Which government may disclose in the future. That government and bureaucrats decide. So that's why intention and character matters. So give some illustration. Suppose a committee submits a report. For your understanding, committee submits a report to the government. Committee submits a report to the government. The committee will keep the information secret until the government decides to disclose by itself. Until the government decides to disclose it. Right? Act of confidentiality has a positive connotation. Act of confidentiality has a positive connotation. But act of secrecy has a negative connotation, cannot be justified. See, if question comes transparency versus secrecy, don't justify secrecy. Transparency versus confidentiality, you can justify confidentiality. Don't write same content in secrecy also. That yes, government is bound to be secret areas. So modify the content accordingly. We are discussing transparency versus confidentiality, and the question comes transparency versus secrecy. You have to write in a different way. All right, conflict between transparency and confidentiality arises when it is not clear. Conflict between transparency and confidentiality arises when it is not clear that confidential information, whether than that, otherwise write whether later. It is not clear that confidential information whether falls under prohibited information or not. It is not clear that whether confidential is not clear if information. That's problem with framing sentences in your mind. That's why I should write down and bring everything. What have made you write? Whether falls under prohibited information or not. Whether falls under prohibited information or not. Therefore, civil servants face a dilemma as disclosure of confidential information is a breach of discipline, as disclosure of confidential information is a breach of discipline. Breach of discipline. But not promoting transparency. But not promoting transparency is a democratic offense. So write solution for all this dilemma. First, clear classification of information. Classification of information. PIO should be informed in advance. Next is second, PIO should be informed in advance about the classification of information. Next, effective grievance redressal mechanism. Effective grievance redressal mechanism. Grievance redressal mechanism. See the effective grievance mechanism. Suppose you file an RTI. हो गया, लिख लिया सबने effective grievance mechanism. File an RTI. RTI reveals that corruption happened. क्या करोगे इसके बाद? RTI से पता चल गया करप्शन है. What you will do? हाँ? स्मॉल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में करप्शन हुआ, केस लड़ते रहोगे आप एक छोटे से करप्ट. ठीक है, तुम्हारे इधर अबजी नरेगा हो रहा है इन योर विलेज. यू फाइल सम RTI, यू कम टू नो करप्शन हैपेंड. व्हाट यू विल डू? हाँ, तो नेक्सस यहाँ भी है. ठीक है, 2 दिन होगा हंगामा. उसके बाद यस टेल. तो पूछो, क्वेश्चन हो रहा है तभी समझ नहीं आ रहा है. तो यू फाइल एन RTI, करप्शन इज एक्सपोज. तुम्हारा रिप्लाई आ गया, हाँ तुम्हें पता चला करप्शन है. क्या करोगे फिर उसके बाद? यस टेल, क्या करोगे? ठीक है, 2 दिन हो गया हंगामा. आगे क्या होगा? ठीक है, वापस करप्शन कर रहे. बताओ क्या करोगे? In the district. Same.
So we can use media or
for vigilance inquiry, CVC, स्टेट विजिलेंस ऑफिसर भी होता है, एंटी करप्शन ब्यूरो भी होता है. मीडिया मीडिया यस. हाँ, क्वेश्चन समझा? ठीक है. See, that's why there is need of effective grievance mechanism. ठीक है, you will go media etc. But सारे मिले हुए तो क्या ही कर लोगे? Media is also local level. Media is very corrupt. Remember this. Everyone can't be the Hindu and the Indian Express. Local media is only for eating money most of the times. That's why effective grievance redressal mechanism is missing. That's why World Bank puts actionable accountability in India is very much missing. No action when this corruption is exposed. What will do? That's why ARC2 had recommended there is Lokpal, Lokayukta. In every district also there should be an ombudsman. Every district there should be Lokayukta. So you go here, they will punish. Karnataka Lokayukta very powerful. That Karnataka Lokayukta is for the state. It has police powers also. So that's why in district also there should be a Lokayukta. That is the meaning of effective grievance redressal mechanism. This should be effective. Transparency versus confidentiality. So law versus ethics, you manage yourself. Lot has been discussed there. किसका? So transparency, it will expose, no? Then confidentiality will be then good intensely confidential to information. Grievance. Now again, see the same example. No? Now RTI is released, transparency is ensured, but fuzzy RTI replies there. Too much of information is provided. कहाँ grievance कहाँ लेके जाओ? Should be effective grievance redressal mechanism. So it will promote the synthesis of transparency and confidentiality. Right information will be kept confidential. Yes, everyone can't fight in the court. Otherwise, they will give too much of information. 100, 200 pages. Information. Quality of information also matters. That's why there should be proper record keeping also. Record dump, don't just dump information. Order versus public interest. So what is order? Bureaucracy, we know, is rule bound. Need to follow orders. But order can also, we have discussed how order can also be against public interest. So what can one do? Again dilemma happens. First, bureaucracy, we know, follows orders. We decided that sometime minister also give wrong orders. Then which can even compromise public interest. That is order versus public interest, but bureaucracy should ensure public interest. But question also arises, what is public interest? What is public interest? Huh? Hindi translation nahi pucha. What is that concept, public interest? Is public interest. So public interest also can be create 2-3 big industrialists. They will pay taxes. They will give employment. That is also public interest. Economic justice also. Ensuring. Which are ensuring human dignity. So criminals should also have human dignity. Yes. What is public interest? What is public interest? Huh? Needs, basic need approach. Roti, kapda, makan. Roti, kapda, makan or capability approach. Capability approach. Empower, development is freedom. You remember capability approach? हाँ, the public interest क्या है? हाँ? What is public interest? Democratic values, but we also know there are bureaucratic values also. Fundamental rights. But emergency में तो the fundamental rights constitution में except article 1921 all fundamental rights can be suspended.
जो important security
Right to life should be there. That is public interest. Everyone has a right to live healthy, prosperous, and pursue happiness and dignity. About and some will be worse off. Then, how public interest? Tribal land acquired. So that's why the dilemma happens. There is no one definition of public interest. Public interest is not definable. Yes, that is also one. That is, public interest not definable. It depends on situation. What is public interest? Public interest can vary. So even we don't know what is public interest. Order is there. So happens more dilemma. What is public interest? It depends on different interpretation. Protecting fundamental rights, happiness, one public interest. Then it depends that even if order is followed, public interest is ensured. We'll define public interest according to the situation. Lot of debate in public administration also. They want to serve, but what is public interest? No one knows what is public interest. One conference tried to define the socially embedded process of collective relationship, dialogue and action to promote human flourishing for all. But no use for you. That we try to define public administration. So public interest is not defined. You have to follow order. So you don't know what is public interest then. Superior minister gives an order which is against constitutional values, but he says it is for public interest. Then conscience. Then how it becomes at loggerheads. This is what it tries to portray. This it beats at loggerheads. Like order comes. Suppose now what is going on? Do not eat non-veg. Now some things are going on, right? Some season, Shravan, I guess. Now, okay, one more sanction on life. Too many sanctions. No freedom. So, yes, many like us. Okay. So this is Shravan is going on. So some people go that you should not open non-veg shops during Shravan. He's saying it is for public interest. Okay, but order is what? Rules are what? Right to livelihood is also there. Right to employment. So what to follow now? An order is come. Suppose order is come. By many it happens, we hear in news that meat shops should be closed. Some yatra is going here. Don't open your meat shops. Order comes, but public interest. Now what is public interest here? You don't know, right? Now what should be followed? Generally follow the order, because if antisocial elements happen, bigger problems may happen. Riots, etc. may snowball into other stuff. So public interest gets compromised then. But again, question also comes, it is about livelihood. Whose public interest you are propagating? Then worse off, greatest good, but some are getting worse off. If 5 days or 6 days they close, many are daily earners. What they eat for 6 days? That's difficult to answer. Then this dilemma happens, order versus public interest. Also, many times our country is also less tolerant. Don't screen this film. It is hurting our sentiments. Many happen like this, Padmavat, etc. Many movies. But the movie has been passed by the censor board. Censor board is there. It has been approved. But now, what to do? Order is to promote the film. But public interest, sentiments of these people X will be hurt, and it may, in a larger way, future affect public interest. People may get violent, may break down the cinema, riots may happen. Then what to follow? हाँ पर नहीं हुई ना शायद, पद्मावत कौन सी तो हुई थी. Lot of issue happened. Yes, because there is constitutional morality also, moral values, not morality, but you see, we all know many of the kings, etc. during the British time supported the British. That is a fact. Freedom movement was fought by laborers, agriculturers, and lower middle class. Middle class was that lower class people. They fought freedom. Britishers were the elitist Industrialists were majorly loyal to the British. Religious leaders were also loyal to the British. So then whose interest to follow? They may be portraying their reality there. Passed by censor board also. And again dilemma happens. Order versus public interest. So it depends on the situation. What to follow, what not to follow. If situation becomes very volatile, then public interest will be to control that volatility, control that explosive situation. But also the question again is, what about your civil services values of integrity and courage? You are getting bogged down. And this is the dilemma. Okay, we'll discuss one more dilemma, then you write in totality. Depends on the situation. See if the larger good, larger public interest. Order you have to follow. Otherwise, that you go give in writing, etc. That all things be written. That you seek a review, immediate review. Seek a meeting with the council of the concerned minister of your parent ministry or your chief secretary, cabinet secretary. You have to follow because order is this. Situation matters. But yes, that is also there. That is, we talk about gradual change and radical change. We talk about that, but repercussions also, consequences should also. If you allow, suppose this shop to open, okay, and riots happen, people kill him, then. But if it becomes an uncontrollable situation, then now some yatra is going on. You also hear this jeep has been vandalized, this is vandalized. Police, one yatra is going on now. You also hear news, car has been burned. Then police also is there. Police tracks this movement. But if hundreds of people come, police cannot respond with lot of force immediately. Police station, how many staff is there? 100, I guess, maximum. 100, 150, one police station. Then 50% have rotating duties. कितना होता है? अच्छा, I'm talking about more about metro cities. Depends on population density. Metro city 100 to 100, 150 staff is there. 50% is on rotation. 50% in holiday. That way, shift change. That's why. So how will respond? Then there are paramilitary forces, etc. Communication takes time to do. So it will take time. So immediately they can kill. That is how 2611 disastrous response or NSG was stationed at Delhi. From Delhi, commandos took time to come. Now they had 4 hubs of NSG. But what use now? जब होने के बाद बनाने का क्या फायदा है? Bureaucratic value is also one ethical value is following superior's orders, maintaining the hierarchy. Yes, you can find other solution. Compensate for 6 days loss. Compensate for 6 days loss of wages. Crowdfunding कर लो. या फिर if there is a provision in the law or the rules, compensate that way. Then what to do? It's a bigger repercussion you also see. Human values is the foremost important. We also said humanity. So now one gradual change versus radical change. This also a dilemma. What is gradual change? Bit by bit reforms, step by step. Step by step reforms. Gradual, radical is radical reforms. Yes, demonetization, farm laws, radical reforms. GST, I guess you can say gradual, lot of time it was debated, etc. Yes, during UPA2 since it was going. So see, less disruptions as compared to this. Disruption was there. People also not happy with GST. Lot of slabs. Gold 3% I get, jewelry, and now insurance 18%. Enjoy, middle class. What one can say. Whether question, where should be the gradual change or radical change? A civil servant joins an organization. Highly corrupt organization is there. You are the head. You are joined. Very corrupt organization. You have woman of integrity is here. क्या करोगे अभी? Gradual की radical? Radical. You will transport next day. Radical changes, or you will be managed. So, see, gradual changes will bring less disruptions. Radical changes will bring lot of disruptions. It takes time to instill the culture of integrity and ethics and morality. So, generally, gradual changes are preferred. Okay, but also situation arises. You have been harassed. You're constantly being harassed. How much harassed you have been, you man of integrity, but you have been called what not, etc. Then what you will do? You will go radical, or you will have graduality, or you will bear also some injustices. Injustices in the sense, consider in terms of integrity, not of mental or physical harassment, rather this they are shouting, etc. Minister keeps scolding you. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Radical steps or gradual some steps, or you will bear something. You bear some injustices. And okay, but give one broader answer. You have joined. You are a person who joined an organization. There, your values don't match with the organization values. You have been harassed there. Constantly, you have been transferred, etc. You have been frequent transfers. One transfer order comes, you're going. सब पूजा करके जा रहे हो, चार्ज लेने, बीच में फोन आ गया. Your transfer is to somewhere else. Then that is also harassment. Terror of transfer. So, radical. Wapas transfer. Now, what you will do? Not change. What are you going to do then? Going to media, whistleblowing. तुम्हें 2 महीने का इस सब जगह टाइम मिला है. क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन नेटवर्क बना के बैठोगे 2 महीने में? Yes, SP very big area, 7-8 police stations. Information network थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. 1 महीना सिस्टम समझने ही जाता है. Then you will transfer immediately. Not Gangajal. Gangajal is a movie. It's not reality. So see, the situation should be gradually. You should face all the injustices also to a certain level, because you know this is a very challenging job. But you should also maintain a threshold. When enough is enough, you should. What you should do? What do you go? No. What your action? What will be action? What grievance? How you will raise your grievance? Raise your issues. Yes, very good. Radical will be going to media and whistleblowing. That is radical, not acceptable at all. First, departmental head, then cabinet secretary, chief secretary, PMO. Then you go to SAT, CAT. You know this SAT, CAT? State Appellate Tribunal. State Administrative Tribunal. Article 323 A and B. That as tribunals have been created for service matters. Courts are different, these are different, they ensure more flexibility. That is tribunal. They work on the principle of national justice. This, then SC High Court, Supreme Courts. Then yes, otherwise yes, resignation is a extreme, a very extreme. Avoid generally, because profile is such. If you should know beforehand the profile of the job before enter. When you also resign, whistleblowing and etc. should be last resort, extreme resort. Extreme level of torture happened, harassment, mental, physical happens, then that will be whistleblowing. Otherwise, too much of whistleblowing media is again disciplinary conduct. So that's why there should be more of a gradual change. Radical things should also come, but it should be with consensus, molding, etc. Radical change. We know how farm laws, how that everything backfired. Radical change, consult all the stakeholders. To avoid conflict of interest, there should be self-commitment, commitment to your own values, selflessness, application of wisdom, that is talisman. Follow conduct rules, work in public interest, larger public interest, that is public interest generally civil servants should interpret in terms of constitution. Constitution acts as a guide, fundamental DPSP is also one. Public interest, that is the guide for civil servants. DPSP, Directive Principles, State Policy, Part 4A, I guess 39 to 51, no 39, I guess 39 only. 51 is fundamental duties. 36 to yes, the fundamental DPSP. Do remember all the DPSP fundamental duties, fundamental rights, very important for prelims. Okay, this is about radical and gradual changes. So write down now, order versus public interest first. Bureaucracies is rule and duty bound. Bureaucracy is rule and duty bound. Has to act as per the orders. Public interest is the most important objective of democracy. But what is public interest is not clear. And is defined as per the situation. What is public interest is not clear and is defined as per the situation. Because of this, conflict may happen. Because of this, conflict may happen. Now this write one illustration. People are protesting against the screening of a movie. People are protesting against the screening of a movie, but the movie has been cleared by the censor board. It has been cleared by the censor board and has to be screened. Then conflict happens. Another right, order has been issued. Next, order has been issued to close all the meat shops. But may go against public interest. Here also how public interest is viewed, that depends. Public interest of who? Next, gradual change versus radical change. हाँ, क्या हुआ था? स्क्रीन किया था? हाँ, तो तुम्हें दोनों साइड दिखा ना, फिर इसमें पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट वैसे इंटरप्रेट कैसे हो उस पर डिपेंड करता है, लाइवलीहुड इसमें। हाँ, और हाँ, तो फिर पब्लिक, हाँ, ऑर्डर क्या है? हाँ, then you should use your conscience also, your analysis, your critical thinking that time. If you're saying that you should meet with the authorities who are issuing this order, that this issue may happen. Then you ensure the law and order is maintained. Then you team up with the SP, etc. Then you make sure that no public property damage, etc. happens. You have to work in challenging situation. What one can do, because you work in anonymity. So every challenging situation you should be able to. That's why they say civil servant should be dynamic also. And if you are not able to maintain order, then responsibility lies on you. Your neck will be on the line. तुम्हारे इसमें rights हो गए. Gradual change versus radical change. Whether civil servants should work for gradual change and take small steps, whether civil servants should work for gradual change and take small steps, or work for radical change. Now, right next, gradual change may not bring much conflict. And radical change will bring lots of conflicts. So should civil servant promote probity in governance? Promote Probity in governance, gradually or radically. In most of the cases, instilling integrity, instilling integrity should be gradual. Promoting the culture of integrity should be gradual. Another way of writing that. Okay. Suppose injustice is happening, right? Suppose injustice is happening. Should you be radical or gradual? Should you be radical or gradual? Now give one illustration. Mr. A is discriminated by the superiors. Mr. A is discriminated by superiors. Frequent transfers. Because of his honesty and integrity. Should he keep serving? Should he keep serving or should he leave the organization? If he keeps serving, will follow the values of civil services. If not, he is tolerating injustice. So how can he give justice to others? In such cases, one should keep a threshold of suffering. Threshold of suffering. Keep a threshold of suffering. If threshold is breached, should approach grievance redressal mechanism. If threshold is breached, should approach the grievance redressal mechanism. See, initially if you feel injustice, you should not keep complaining all the time. We also studied how complaining nature is one trait of a negative attitude and one trait of low emotional intelligence also. So when threshold is breached, you should follow the grievance redressal mechanism. So right now, one should be departmental level. Number one, departmental level. Right under that only, departmental heads, then write chief secretary, under that only, slash chief secretary, cabinet secretary, PMO. Second, cat, sat cat, right? Sat cat. Sat will come first, then cat will come. Third, High Court. Then Supreme Court. Last option should be whistleblowing. Going to media isn't considered appropriate. Going to the media isn't considered appropriate. As it is considered as a breach of discipline. Breach of discipline. 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 Civil service discipline. Follow rules, regulation, that is discipline. That is, if you go to media, you will create more problems than solving those problems. What problem? Huh? Yes, if your threshold is breached. No? Uh-huh. But if you have integrity and honesty, what then you will afraid of? Already you've been transferred so many times. What is left? Promotion is mandatory to give. You can also approach the courts if your promotion is stalled for not proper reasons. People have been promoted also. I guess one IPS officer went to the courts. He was not considered for the position of a commissioner. And the court said to UPSC, the state should send three or four senior most. Yes, then UPSC selects 3. Then then it will say to state government, इनमें से select कर लो. So then it was sent to that UPSC, and the state government also made him the commissioner. Depends on situation. So, radical if the government comes with a different ideology. Now this, yes, because you work under political master. That time when Modi ji said, you take risk, I will protect you. So radical risk. In most of the cases, gradual change. Most of the life. When conflict of interest, right? When facing conflict of interest, when facing conflict of interest or ethical dilemma, right, first follow self-commitment or ethical dilemma. Right, first self-commitment, second selflessness, application of wisdom, public interest, conduct rules. Next, see, recently in today's Hindu only, in Maharashtra, one female IS officer sought a transfer, or she was removed within 1 month. So maybe her values were not right with that ministry. The ministry was, many people are interpreting as very corrupt. So she sought a transfer, or she was transferred back. Today's Hindu it has come. See this. Then she didn't went to the media. She didn't create any halla, etc. Silent transfer. So this is also one way. This way. Otherwise, if other person would have been there, you know who? Big tamasha would have happened if that IS Maharashtra would have been in her place. She would be happy in working there. Asha, Chandigarh mein. Yes, they silently seek transfer. They don't go to media, etc. Now autonomy and accountability. She was transferred, not transferred. That is a challenging job. You don't know what is right, what is wrong. A public interest order, what to do. Total very challenging. That's why most bureaucrats become blind. जो चल रहा है वही करेंगे. तो ये सब ना self commitment, ये सब लिखना self commitment, wisdom depends on the case study and content of the case study. Should be of what? तो larger public interest पे ना वो कि जैसे देखो अभी, yes, if larger public interest there is writing etc. will have more damaging property or human lives will be lost. So bona fide intent is not following that order. But even if you follow, you will ensure that peace is there, law and order is maintained. It is also, I can seek more forces from the state government or central government to maintain law and order. Talk with the religious leader to maintain peace, make an appeal, social media messaging. That way then. Now autonomy versus accountability. What is autonomy? What is accountability first? Responsibility is okay. You can use it interchangeably, but responsibility is different from accountability. Both are not same. What is autonomy or accountability? Giving discretion, right? Answerability is accountability. Yes, answerability is accountability. Autonomy is what? Discretion. But this also comes at loggerheads. Civil servants are accountable. You don't have autonomy. You have to work as per rules. But without autonomy, no creativity will happen. But if autonomy is given, accountability won't be there. How you make accountable? Then, if autonomy is given, misuse also. No accountability. Then, corruption. And dilemma again, autonomy versus accountability. Should autonomy be given or not given? Accountability. How? उसके अंदर भी देखिए मिसयूज हो सकता है ना ऑटोनॉमी. That's why the character is important. You should connect with character and conduct. Anyways, different discussion. So it will hamper innovation if autonomy is not given. But ensure accountability. And also dilemma happens whether to give autonomy or accountability. Many cases when autonomy is given, it resulted in corruption. You remember Antrix Devas deal? Devas. This is a commercial arm of ISRO. Antrix. Autonomy is given. Corruption was there. Also, 73rd Amendment gave autonomy to PRIs. When it was found, PRIs are more corrupt than district administration. Autonomy versus accountability issue. Also, IRCTC autonomy is given. You know how food is been served, many times videos come. Corruption. That's why autonomy versus accountability, then issue happens. PPP projects. PPP projects, autonomy is given. Chronic capitalism resulted. KGD6 basin case. Chronic capitalism. Manipulate the contract, manipulate your cost, everything. Chronic capitalism. Then it questions of autonomy versus accountability arises. Also the 5 C's. You know the 5 C's? CBI, CVC, CIC, courts and CAG. They are making people accountable. But what about their own accountability? They have autonomy institution. What about the accountability of this? CAG report was made on 2G scam. So much corruption happened. This all happened. But it led to all chaos. But now what? What accountability of Mr. Vinod Rai at that time? This all happened, but we know that 1.73 lakh crore loss happened. But after that, yes, provisional loss, notional loss. But what about now his accountability? Okay, when 3G, 4G licenses are not getting as much revenue as 2G, what about his accountability then? Autonomy they have of courts. Supreme Court overturning decisions, its own decisions. Many times review petitions. What about the accountability of that judge who didn't apply his mind properly? And then accountability question comes then out of how to balance autonomy versus accountability. Police was given autonomy during COVID. The misuse of power or accountability of them. Police is given powers in UP to do encounter of criminals. Fake encounters happened. Accountability questionable. Highly questionable. Then problem happens of A versus A, autonomy versus accountability. Then also this dilemma, conflict of interest happens. Those who are doing fake encounters, law has came on them. They are spending their life in jail. In many cities, wherever this happens, in UP, today it's happening, encounters are happening. Tomorrow there will be change in government. आज नहीं तो कल government change होगी state की भी. They will open all these files. Ministers won't be held responsible, but all those police officers spend rest of their life in jail. Be rest assured about that. Also, that Disha case in where Andhra Pradesh, after Nirbhaya Disha happened, they were also fakely killed, all those criminals. Tomorrow, if some public spirited citizen goes and files a PI, investigate this, they will be in jail. Many cases you go and read, encounter culture, etc., their rest of their life they spend in jail. Many are already in jail. Was an encounter specialist. No one will save you there. You have been used and thrown. So write this: autonomy versus accountability. Autonomy generally civil servants lack autonomy. Under autonomy, civil servants lacks autonomy. They are subject to strict controls. Which hampers innovative decision making. It hampers innovative decision making. But when they are given autonomy, accountability is compromised. When they are given autonomy, accountability is compromised. And there can be misuse of power. Therefore, government is in dilemma. Whether to give autonomy or not. To write briefly, accountability means answerability of the civil servant. Accountability relates to the answerability of the civil servant. Autonomy, answerability of civil servant. Autonomy is discretionary powers of discretion to the civil servant. Autonomy is discretion to civil servant. Discretion to the civil servant. Traditionally, strict controls affected decision making. Affected decision making. When control was not effective, power was misused. When control was not effective, power was misused. Since 1990s, there has been decentralization of power. Decentralization of power, which increased autonomy, but also promoted corruption. Now give examples. Example, first, 73rd Amendment gave power to PRIs. 73rd Amendment gave power to PRIs. But PRIs are more corrupt than district administration. PRIs means Panchayati Raj institutions. But PRIs are more corrupt than district administration. Second, PPP projects promoted crony capitalism. Next, Anthrax Devas deal. Anthrax Devas deal. Anthrax Devas, for your information, right? Anthrax was a commercial arm of ISRO. Commercial arm of ISRO. Now government uses ISRO to launch its own satellites. If private organization wants to launch its own satellites, Anthrax Corporation was incorporated. From there they launched. Where autonomy was given to Anthrax, resulted in corruption. Many examples are there. You write yourself: PSU's autonomy, IRCTC autonomy, corruption, etc. Okay. The 5 C's, right? The 5 C's have autonomy, but what about their own accountability? The 5 C's. 5 C's. Five C's have autonomy, but what about their own accountability? 5 C's, you write down if you don't know: CBI, CVC, CIC, CAG, courts. CBI is Central Bureau of Investigation, CVC Central Vigilance Commission, CIC Central Information Commission, CAG is Comptroller Auditor General, courts, High Court, Supreme Court. Okay. So last concept for today. It depends now. That's why character and ethics and civil services values are important for this. Civil services and ministerial responsibility and civil services anonymity. Now, what is this? And civil services anonymity. So, anyone want to try or should I explain? Briefly, I have explained in some of the sessions, I guess. Suleiman. Yes, anyone wants to try? Anyone else? What is civil services anonymity and minister responsibility? Very good. Good structuring of sentences. See, India is a parliamentary democracy. Democracy, what happens in parliamentary democracy? India is a parliamentary democracy. ये तो पता है, we are a parliamentary democracy. Then you elect member of parliaments. Member of parliaments. Member of parliaments form what? Council of Ministers, government. So, people, these are people's representatives. So, they are responsible for people's welfare. So, minister is responsible for people's welfare. And how accountability of minister is ensured? Yes, parliament. There will be questions asked. Question hour, 0 hour, short discussion motion, adjournment motion, censure motion. Many motions are there. No confidence motion. They will keep this person accountable. Do they keep the civil services accountable? No. So direct responsibility lies with whom? Minister. Minister is directly responsible. Now these ministers, to get work done, from whom they'll get work done? Yes, bureaucracy. So there will be, this ministers will make civil services accountable for that work, because he needs to be accountable to the parliament. So who is answerable to the people? Minister. So civil servant should remain anonymous. That is civil services anonymity, ministerial responsibility. Supreme Court calls this as a triple chain of accountability. This is a triple chain of accountability. Council of Ministers, Parliament, civil services, people, directly, indirectly. So this is triple chain of accountability. According to Supreme Court, this is civil services responsibility, minister responsibility, and civil services accountability. Individually, people, ministers, executive, parliament, and this people are making three people accountable to the MP, the ministers, and civil servant. This is a triple chain of accountability. Council of Ministers are collectively and individually responsible to what? To the parliament, yes, to the assembly, legislature. But they are not responsible directly, indirectly. So they should remain anonymous. ज़्यादा leader बनने की कोशिश मत करो. That is here. If you go against politicians, mind you, they will not leave you. Everyone will come together, opposition, etc. That's why there should be this. But that's why they should not give press conferences also. Civil servants. It's against discipline. Press conference, etc. should be given by ministers. Just one video in Haryana had come some time back that the civil servant was arguing with the minister. The minister was right. She is no authority to override the ministerial conference. This Anil Kumar Vij, I guess. Also CAG at that time was going to the media and saying government is not serious about corruption. Wrong conduct. You should have any issues raised with that hierarchy, etc. That is how conflict then happens. People try to become leader. If you take initiatives like Operation Suleimani, then anonymity is reduced. You will become visible. But you don't have responsibility, direct responsibility. It is minister who to answer. So then there happens conflict. Minister responsibility and civil services anonymity. Largely, they should be maintained and remain anonymous because it is strength of democracy. If civil servants become partisan, they stop being anonymous, then democracy shakes. And it is, yes, I have said also that civil servants should observe how politics works without indulging in politics. This is civil services anonymity and etc. Also due to RTI etc. Then they have to take this leadership role also then. RTI, good governance, effective governance, proactive people, ethical governance. Then this happen, then gets become a conflict. Okay, this is civil services anonymity and minister responsibility. Any issues with this? One, accountability, parliament. People making parliament accountable. People also indirectly making civil services accountable. Indirectly. Parliament, ministers. One, people, MPs, MLAs. MPs, MLAs are making them accountable. And indirectly, civil servants. Or directly, civil servants, Council of Ministers are making directly them. That's the triple chain of accountability Supreme Court talks about. So write down. Concept of minister responsibility and civil services anonymity. Since India has adopted a parliamentary democracy, on the pattern of United Kingdom or UK, since India has adopted parliamentary democracy on the pattern of UK, It has following characteristics. It has following characteristics. Democratic government is responsible to the people via parliament, is responsible to the people via parliament and elections. Bureaucracy works under the control of the government. Works under the control of government. Next, bureaucracy is supposed to remain anonymous. That is, not directly respond to the people, respond to the people on various issues. Next, Council of Ministers are collectively and individually responsible to the parliament. Responsible to the parliament. And bureaucracy is responsible to the people and bureaucracy is responsible to the people through the Council of Ministers. ये डायग्राम बना लिया ना सबने? Now right, dilemma happens. ये बना लिया डायग्राम? Dilemma happens due to number 1, civil servant starts acting like political representative. Civil servants start acting like political representatives. Like political representatives. Issuing statements, press conferences, that is how they are. That is issuing statements, press conferences. CAG, right, for your reference, example, CAG, the CAG made a statement in the press. Made a statement in the press. That government is not serious about corruption. Next, due to Citizen Charter RTI, good governance, etc. Due to Citizen Charter RTI, good governance, etc. They have civil servants have direct interface with the people. Civil servants have and direct interface with the people. Affecting anonymity. Also, social media is promoting direct interface with the people. Direct interface with the people. Therefore, civil servants should maintain a fine line between anonymity and transparency. Transparency, yes. As democratic responsibility is of the political executive. As democratic responsibility is of the political executive. As there is a popular saying, civil servants should understand how politics works without indulging into politics. How politics works without indulging into politics. See, as I told you, should enrich your answers also. Today, good article came in the Hindu on Wayanad disaster. So you should connect with environmental ethics, environment versus conservation. What they say, first there was a Gadgil committee which said the entire Western Ghats should be declared as an eco-sensitive zone. Then came Kasturi Ranjan committee which said 37% of the Western Ghats should be declared as an eco-sensitive zone. Now this happens, it was not declared. Lot of illegal mining, encroachment, according to the environmentalists in living near Western Ghats, they say 2 lakh acre of Western Ghats and forests have been encroached upon. So conservation versus development. So this all happened. Wayanad landslides. Also the other aspect is, now intense rain happened. Intense rain happens due to what? Global warming. Now they are saying, why you are punishing these poor people for global warming? Global warming is everyone's responsibility. So it is also environmental justice questions also arises here. Why the poor people are caught in this conservation versus development all the time? the responsibility of the Western countries. So then this way, keep enriching your content also. This you can connect with environmental ethics. They come also this year. Hot topic. Okay. Well, this session comes to an end. Hope it was enlightening for you. We will meet tomorrow, same time. Okay. Tomorrow you have to come.